Okay, this one's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit harder. Um, these are always kind of the ones I don't really like to talk about so much, but it needs to be talked about. And like I'd said before, I make these videos for my children and my grandchildren in the future. If I'm not here and I'm gone, or God decides to take me home or whatever, I want to leave these. So I so wish I could have seen my grandfather and he'd done videos so I could have just got to see how he talked, or how he acted, some of his knowledge, some of his wisdom. I wish he could have left some of that here instead of just in my memory, because my memory fades a lot. So this is a hard one here. This is called the war mindset of when war comes to an area and you have to survive. You have to survive. And that's going to be a hard one, um, because you have to have a whole different mindset to survive a war. And I'm going to go down a little list here that I put together, because I have been in war, and I have been in war zones. I have been in actual war, and I am a combat veteran, and I have seen over and over what war looks like, and it's just not pretty, and it's not something you want to be in. But in order to get through it, these are some things that might help you. So the first thing in this is stow your feelings. What does that mean? That means you have to get rid of self-pity. You have to get rid of feeling like you need comfortable. You're not going to need to be comfortable. You won't be comfortable. You need to just kind of put your feelings on a shelf and roll with it. The next thing is stow sympathy. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? Well, you can't be sympathetic to everyone. There's going to be people that are in need that you cannot help. And if you do help them, it's going to destroy you or your family. You might not be able to always divide your food up. You might not be able to give ammo to other people. You might not be able to go and rescue someone from an area. It might just be you're going to have to stow that sympathy, and you're going to have to be self-sustaining and not have the rescue everybody mindset. The next one is willingness to do extreme violence. And this is a hard one, because what makes a person dangerous is their willingness to do violence. I see a lot of people that have a lot of equipment, they have a lot of training, they have everything they need, they just don't have the willingness to get it done. So, the next on the list is keep up your vigilance. You have to stay vigilant. You can't just go and sleep all night long and not be on that combat edge, what we call sleeping with one eye open. You have to stay vigilant. You always have to suspect. You always have to ask what if, and you always have to be ready. So staying vigilant is a big one. Security is priority one. When war breaks out, it's always about security first. Always. You don't take a nap when you're supposed to be on watch. You don't light a cigarette at night so someone can see your position. You don't mess around and turn on a white flashlight. Those kind of things. You always make security priority one. If someone comes up needing something, you're suspecting that they are not a good person until you 110% assure that they are. And in war, not many people are. Compartmentalize relationships. What does that mean? That means that if you are with your war, if you're with your soldier friends and the people that you're doing war with, that's that relationship. You cannot let your family relationship get in the way of your ability to perform your mission or to survive. Keep your equipment at hand. So you will always keep a weapon within arm's reach at all times during a war. And you will probably need to keep two. Be ready at a moment's notice. I always say be ready at a second's notice because a moment may be too long. You need to always be ready to go from sitting, sleeping, eating to full out firefight. Win the fight no matter what. So in war, I know that you see all this crap on the news that, oh, well, they're not fighting by the rules of war. Well, all that's bullshit. There is no rule of war when you're trying to survive. If you have to cheat, you cheat. If you have to cut a corner, you cut a corner. If you have to, whatever you have to do to win and survive, that's what you do. There is no rule of war. That's invented by politicians that want to make themselves feel good for having to send good men into harm's way. Survive and destroy the enemy is the mission. The only mission is to survive. And the enemy is in the way of that. And you have to destroy them. There is no feeling sorry for someone or letting someone go because you feel bad for him and this kind of thing, because it will turn around and bite you. There will be no self-pity in war. I like what the one guy said, a bird will fall frozen from the bow of a ship, never feeling sorry for himself. That means a lot, because that means a bird, a wild animal, they know how to survive. They don't self-pity. They just do it. They hunt to eat. They do it. Uncomfortable will be the norm in war. You're going to be uncomfortable. Just look, I remember when we went out, I was a warrant officer and we still slept in the dirt. So that's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to be out at night in the dirt with bugs crawling on you, with mosquitoes, with sand in everything. Waking up the next morning with sand in your face, in your eyes, in your sleeping bag if you're lucky enough to have one. It's uncomfortable. Expect to be uncomfortable. Practice being uncomfortable. You fight for your homeland and your freedom. First thing you're fighting for is your own survival. That's the very first thing. And then all the other stuff comes behind that. If your family's there, of course you're fighting for your family. And then it becomes, your religion, your God, your country, all this stuff. But the first thing is you have to survive or it doesn't matter. So anyway, that is kind of the war mindset you have to start adapting to and thinking about in a war. If you have something to add to that list that I may have forgotten, because Lord knows I have forgotten a ton of shit, please put it down in the comments below, because I'm always trying to refine these lists and think about things and just kind of prepare my family. Right now, in good old USA, we all live in this utopia with the air conditioners blowing, the heaters blowing. To sweat is a crime. The criminals get away with everything. The politicians steal, rape, pillage, and plunder, molest children, whatever they do. But it's a much different mindset when war starts. When war starts, then the warriors will be in control. We will be in the warriors' world. We won't be in the politicians' world. We might be in the politicians' world for a little while. But when it starts getting real nasty, the warriors take over. And then it's always the good men, the warriors, that have to fix the politicians' problems. And the politician, I don't understand why the warriors ever allow the politicians to get in charge to start with. It's just a shame, because they're just terrible people, man. They send other people to die for their greed. And it's crazy. But the war mindset is you have to survive. The hell with the politicians and everybody else. You have to survive. And whatever that means to do. And there is no rules to war. Okay? Go prepare yourself. Got a storm coming.